What you just saw with Tyler Warren is when they bring him in and they look to block this linebacker out, he's at the point. A defensive coordinator knows that. All right, they know that, and they're communicating that with their guys. A smart linebacker, smart safety, smart defensive players know where that player is who's coming in, and they're looking to run behind him because he's that guy. So when you know you're going to be at the point of all the attacks that you're looking to launch on the defense, when you know you're going to be that guy, you have got to have your fundamentals on point. You got to be square, like they just explained. You got to make sure you're taking your proper steps, taking your proper angles, because you have the advantage as the offensive guy, because you know the snap count, you know the play. The defense has an idea, but they don't know it. So you're going to be able to get that first step in, and your stuff has to be incredibly, you can't be reacting. You got to be the aggressor. All right. So when it comes to how we translate that into the business world, when you are in the process of interviewing people, when you're in the process of bringing folks in, your questions need to center around how many things they can do. The same way, I'm going to put the picture up for you right now. Swiss Army knives right here, right? The amount of things you can do. You cannot, I see this mistake happen. I see business owners make this mistake on a regular basis. You have a position that you put on Indeed and you bring the person in for that position, and all of a sudden they're hired, where that may seem like a good idea when it's actually one of the worst things you can possibly do. Because in business, you got to be growing. Your questions and who you bring in needs to be centered around how many things a person can actually do. When you center your questions and you center your whole framework and everything that you're about, and you say how many things you can do, now you're going to start to bring in a more versatile type of employee, and they're going to be taking their job a whole lot more seriously, because all of their skill sets are going to be utilized. And not only are they going to be utilized, but they're also going to be growing in nature. Again, Tyler Warren was a quarterback going to Penn State, but then they moved him to tight end, humble enough to do it, was able to take a lot of lessons, obviously, that he learned as a quarterback. Now that goes into some of his route running, where he needs to be, that goes into where he is blocking wise, that goes into so many different things. And it can work the same way if you as a business owner set the tone and set the culture for this. And I'll close you out with this example, because I learned this actually when I was 19 years old. I was a front desk associate. I was a front desk associate at a gym named Washington Sports Club in South Bethesda. At the time, I was rehabbing my knee. I just had knee surgery on my ACL. So it was the ideal position for me. But as a front desk associate, this gym happened to have babysitting as well. We also, when people come in for a workout, we had a place there where a babysitting place where they can drop off their kids and all that kind of stuff. And what they used to do when I worked there for a whole year, and what they used to do when I first got there, was they used to hire a front desk person and a babysitting person. They used to make this position separate. Eventually they got to the point where it's like, look, you're going to have to be able to do front desk and babysitting. You can't just do one or the other. They just merged the positions, and that turned out to be a better strategy. So they didn't have to worry about if the babysitter doesn't show up and the front desk person doesn't show up, and all sorts of confusion that was going on in the front desk. And the same thing actually happened when I first got out here to South Florida. I moved out here to South Florida to work for the Miami Dolphins Foundation. Within the next season, actually, they just merged the stuff. So there's a flagship event that the Miami Dolphins put on, which is called the Dolphins Cancer Challenge, where there's people 365 days out of the year trying to raise money for the DCC, is what they call it. And then there's the Miami Dolphins Foundation, where you're just raising money in general through 50-50 raffle and I think they have the wheel thing, just raising money for the foundation to do other events and stuff like that. So eventually they just merged those staffs, right? It was the same people. I remember getting there my second season doing it, and it was the same staff at the DCC and the Miami Dolphins Foundation, and they just merged the staff. And if you would look on the Miami Dolphins website right now and look at the foundation staff, you would see the same people that was working in the DCC are the same people that are in the foundation now. It's about how many things you can do in the business world. So take that into consideration as you're watching all of these, and there's going to be a lot of it. Like I said, there's a lot I got to get to this weekend. But what you're going to see with all these individual accolades that are going to be given out, you're going to see it's not necessarily going to be about the well-informed folks, the people that that's why you got to watch the game. You're going to see a lot of the individual stuff sort of taking over the mainstream media and all the attention. When you as a business owner, you as a regular consumer of my work and what I'm all about, you have to use your discernment and say, okay, who's really making a difference? Who's really about it? Who's really doing this and really doing that? And let me apply these things to my business. All right. So